Hey guys, welcome to today's video, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. We will be talking about a whole slew of things today, and amazingly enough, they all intertwine together to create one narrative and plan of the enemy. We will be talking about binary code, quantum computing, the Twin Towers, the One World Trade, Freemasonic symbols, CERN, the image of the beast, physics, and we'll be looking at some movies like 1984, The Avengers, The Matrix, Ready Player One, even 101 Dalmatians. We'll be talking about the medicine and ultimately this plan to snatch your body. So I hope you're ready for it, because there is a lot of information in this one. I guess that's no different than the rest of the videos that I make. They're all packed with information. But in this one, you will be able to see how the demons in technology, the spiritual realm, influence the physical realm with the technology. You'll be able to see side by side, timeline by timeline, how the technology changed and so did humanity. I'm going to lay it out in such a way that you should be able to see the possession taking place. As technology changes, so does the method of possession, and so does the result of the possessions. You will see these things taking place both in the spirit and in the physical realm manifesting together. This one is going to take some attention. And of course, as always, I will be tying these things in to Scripture. So, let's dive right in and get to the bottom of the invasion of the body snatchers. As we get closer to the end, the truth will become more and more precious, and the people that hold it will have a great responsibility, because the world will reject what they have to say, persecute, hunt them down, and kill them. These truths are hard, and it takes a certain kind of person led by God to bring these truths to the surface. So choose you this day whom ye will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Welcome. Part 1. Understanding 101. So, to begin to understand the towers and how they work into this spell of possession, we first have to understand why they were there in the first place. So this is a Freemason site, and this is their symbol they call point within a circle. You will notice that there are 2 pillars and a circle with a dot in the center. First, I will read you what they say this is, and then I will show you what it really is. Some delineations of the symbol have the letter B on the right side and E on the left. The point within a circle in Freemasonry is linked to St. John the Baptist and St. John the Evangelist. The two are essential Masonic saints. So in case you're unaware, the book of John is John the Baptist. 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, and the book of Revelation is written by John the Evangelist. 2 different Johns in the Bible. So this is who they're referring to. In Freemasonry, the point, black dot in the middle of the circle, symbolizes an individual Mason. The circumscribed circle stands for the boundary between a brother's obligation to God and men. A Mason should be restricted within the circle. He shouldn't let personal desires, passion, interest, or anything else lead him astray. So, to get an understanding of what this 101 is, and that is what this is, it can be seen as 101, LOL, or IOI, which we will be covering all these things. But to start off, we're going to be doing 101. Okay, this is why the 101 phrase is so popular. Like, oh, I got to take home ec 101, or I got to go back to school and take some basic learning 101. Okay, this is why that number is used so often. And I'm going to show you where it comes from, and they give us a clue of where to look. John the Baptist. John 10:1. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. Okay, so 101 represents the door to the Antichrist. Okay, the false Christ, not coming into the sheepfold by the door, but some other way, a thief and a robber of your soul. So, 101 is the door to the Antichrist. This is the portal, the gateway. So to show you guys that 101 is the doorway to the Antichrist, I'm going to be showing you a few movies where they give it away. So this is The Matrix, and you will notice I put in slow motion once I start to play it. On his stereo, you see the number 5, which is V, which is in Lucifer's sigil. You will also notice the numbers 116, 117, and 118. 116, that's 11 times 6. That's 66. That's Apollo's number. Apollo is in a cube inside of a cube. That is why his number is 66. 2 6-sided cubes. Then 117 is 711, which is 911. Septa means 7. And if you add 7 and 11, that's 18. That's 666. Then you will see 118. That is 88. That is your time-space portal, representing Satan's prison and the way he's going to get out of it. He is locked in an infinite loop inside of time and inside of a space, which we will cover a little further into the video. So let's get started. I will pause here and there and explain what we're watching. So there you see 116. There you see 117. There you see 118, and it blurs out.
What the hell? Oh, what rabbit?
Notice his computer screen tells him the Matrix has you. This is how the Matrix gets you, through your screens.
Who is it? $2,000. Hold on.
Notice his room, 101. Okay? He is Neo. And if you shuffle the letters, it spells 1 as the one, Neo. But he is not Jesus. He is the Antichrist, the false Savior. Now, I have slowed this part down, and I took screenshots which I will be overlaying. I thought it was very important to understand what was on this disc that he was selling to Choi. Now, we know that Jesus came to give life. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Apollo, the Antichrist, brings death. Now, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it says disc 187. I took a few screenshots of this. so that you could see that it says disc 187. That's the call for murder, for death. So Neo, the false one, the Antichrist in room 101, the door to the Antichrist, is giving Choi 187. He's giving him death. Now let's see what Choi has to say when he receives this illuminated disc.
Old White Rabbit. Who is it? $2,000. Hold on.
Now, I also need to point out that he said $2,000 for the year 2000. Okay? The doorway to the Antichrist. The 1,000 years is up. This movie was made in 1999. Giving him the $2,000 is a sign. It's also 216 minutes long, which is 6 times 6 times 6. $2,000 he hands through door 101, and Neo hands him back death. I hope you can see the spiritual implications. Now let's hear what Choi has to say.
Hallelujah. You're my savior, man. You're my savior, man. My own personal Jesus Christ. My own personal Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know. This never happened. You don't exist.
So he's saying that you're my savior, my own personal Jesus Christ. If that doesn't tell you that this is the Antichrist, I don't know what will, because this is blatantly obvious.
My own personal Jesus Christ. My own personal Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know. This never happened. You don't exist.
Another thing I want to point out is he was told to follow the white rabbit, which this woman has on her shoulder. Now, the white rabbit comes up in Alice in Wonderland, all throughout stuff. The white rabbit is always there. I'm late for a very important date. The white rabbit comes up in so many different movies and comics and songs that I have just came to realize who the white rabbit is as of late. The white rabbit is Apollo. And we learned this in the series Utopia on Amazon. This is the show Utopia, which is on Amazon, which basically told us everything that was going to happen. But what we're going to focus on is this character played by John Cusack, whose name is Kevin Christie. In the comics, he is a white rabbit who creates all these deadly viruses, starting pandemics and stuff, and they're trying to figure out who the white rabbit is. Okay, and it ends up being this guy, Kevin Christie, who owns a pharmaceutical company who mass produces vaccines to help the world's population. So let's read directly from Wikipedia what this says about the synopsis. The comic book fans discover a global conspiracy. The comic book contains clues of future events because it is written by one of the architects of a plan designed to prevent ecological disaster as Earth's population rises and resources are depleted. The plan consists of 1. Convincing the world's population that there is an outbreak of a deadly new virus. Once convinced, the narrative of the faux pandemic announced to the public the creation of a new medicine. Through the coordination between global elites and non-governmental organizations, governments move quickly to inject the world's population with this medicine. Once the population is injected, it turns out that the medicine is designed to sterilize almost all of those people that take it, causing the global population to drop from 7.8 billion to about 500 million, and ushering in a new era of plenty. Now, bringing the population down to 500 million, that was on the Georgia Guidestones. So, Kevin Christie, the White Rabbit, makes a fake pandemic in the show Utopia. Just want to be clear, I'm talking about a show here, not reality. So he convinced the world that there was an outbreak of a deadly new virus so that he could give them his medicine that was actually not the medicine. This is what Apollo does. He brings the sickness and the cure. So the White Rabbit is Apollo. So this is Ready Player One. And you will hear him say that this portal appeared. Look where it appeared. Liberty Island. Okay? Statue of Liberty. Sol. S-O-L. The sun god. Apollo worship. Satan. So this portal opens and you're going to see a bunch of 101s. Of course, they're disguised as IOIs. And a lot of people use LOLs, but believe me when I tell you, they're all the same thing. That is why I do not type LOL, ever. So let's give this a little bit of playtime, and we will talk about what we're seeing.
This portal appeared. It was a race no one had ever finished.
A portal appeared to a race no one ever finished. Paul says that the road to salvation is a race. So he says, run, okay? The 101, the doorway to the Antichrist, says, no one ever finishes the race. And the 101 crew are called the Sixers. That is no accident.
Oh, the Sixers. The Sixers work for Iowa, innovative online industries. They're putting everything they got into winning Halliday's contest. We call them Sixers because that's the company rule. No name, just numbers. Just numbers.
No name, just numbers. You know where they do that? Prison. Your name is replaced by a number. So 101, the doorway to the Antichrist. The prison where no one wins the race. I put this scene in there because I've done videos on Back to the Future and how it is related to Apollo working his way through the timeline. So I just wanted to throw this in here because they saw fit to use the DeLorean, which represented how Apollo went through time in Back to the Future.
The girl! I think it's Artemis!
Be Artemis! Be Artemis! The Sixer Fixer!
It's her. It's definitely her.
So here, this girl will become his cohort in the movie. Her name is Artemis, twin sister of Apollo, nicknamed the Sixer Fixer. Now the spiritual implications of this is that just like Apollo, she turns people into sixes through the doorway, 101. They are twin spirits, both coming to imprison humanity, to destroy what God created. They are two heads of the same spirit. Now, this is 1984, and you will see that this character, Winston, thinks that what is in room 101 is paradise. It shows it a couple of times. Then you will hear Winston is saying that the lie becomes the truth and then becomes a lie again. Okay, this is important because he thinks that what's in 101 is paradise. So the lie becomes truth. But then later on he discovers what's in 101 and it becomes a lie again.
The lie becomes truth and then becomes a lie again. The lie becomes truth and then becomes a lie again.
Okay, that was the first time that he envisioned going through door 101. because his interrogator, the guy that tortures him, continually tells him that he knows what's in room 101, even though he doesn't know what's in room 101. So in his mind, it's freedom, it's paradise, especially compared to what he's going through on the torture table. The lie becomes the truth, and then becomes a lie again. This is the second time in the movie he thinks
No one
about...
escapes. There are no martyrs here. All the confessions made here are true. We do not destroy the heretic because he resists us. As long as he resists us, we never destroy him. We make him one of ourselves before we...
Every confession made here is true. We never destroy the heretic while he resists us. Okay? They don't want to destroy. Satan does not want to destroy you while you're resisting him. He wants to wait until you are following him and not resisting him, and then destroy you.
We do not destroy the heretic because he resists us. As long as he resists us, we never destroy him. We make him one of ourselves before we kill him. We make his brain perfect before we blow it out. When there is nothing left but sorrow and love of Big Brother, we shall lift you clean out of history. Nothing will remain of you.
When there's nothing left of you besides the love of Big Brother, okay, and that's the Iron Kingdom that Daniel prophesied about. Okay, this is the final kingdom, the Iron Kingdom. Big Brother is watching you, the technology, a surveillance state, an electric prison. Once they have you in this prison and loving Big Brother and worshiping the beast, then they will erase you from history.
To lift you clean out of history. Nothing will remain of you. Not a name in a register, not a memory. You will be annihilated in the past as well as in the future.
So this is referring to your name being blotted out of the book of life. Once you are in this Iron Kingdom and you submit to it, they will erase you from history. Your name will be blotted out of the book of life.
You've not asked me the question that is uppermost in your mind. You know what is in room 101. You know what is in room 101. Everyone knows what's in room 101.
So he's saying that you haven't asked me the question that's in your mind. You know what's in room 101. So he doesn't know what's in room 101. He thinks that it's freedom.
You know what is in room 101. Everyone knows what's in room 101. Everyone knows what's in room 101. You've understood the reality of the past and of the present. Now, what of the future? How does one man assert power over another? By making him suffer. Exactly. There is no loyalty except loyalty to the party. Imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever.
There is no loyalty but loyalty to the party. It's important to understand that the party and Big Brother, this is all Satan. His government, his Iron Kingdom, his system. This is what we're headed into.
We control life at all levels. We create human nature. Men are infinitely malleable.
We control life at all levels. We create human nature. Men are infinitely malleable. Okay, let's talk about possession.
We are the inheritors. Do you understand that you're alone? You're outside history. You unexist.
We are the inheritors. Okay, they think they're going to inherit the earth. This is the lie Lucifer has promised them, that they shall be kings of the new world. And he told Winston that he lives now outside of history. So as you can see, Big Brother in the background is watching. And now he's going to talk to him about whether or not his allegiance is to Big Brother. And he will tell him that it's not enough to obey. He needs to love the beast.
What are your true feelings towards Big Brother? It's not enough to obey. You must love him. Room 101. Room 101.
So, there you go. It's not enough to obey Satan. You have to love him, worship him, bow down to him. And since he wasn't doing that, they're bringing him into room 101. the doorway to the Antichrist, to damnation.
You asked me once, Winston, what was in room 101. I told you that you knew already. Everyone knows. The thing that is in room 101 is the worst thing in the world. The thing that is in room 101 is the worst thing in the world. It goes beyond fear of pain or of death. It is unendurable, and it varies from individual to individual.
The thing that's in room 101 is the worst thing in the world. It's different for everybody. That's what hell is. It goes beyond pain and death. Let me play that part again.
The thing that is in room 101 is the worst thing in the world. It goes beyond fear of pain or of death. It is unendurable, and it varies from individual to individual. It may be burial alive, or castration, many other things. In your case, it is rats.
So it is unendurable. It is your own personal torture. This is what hell is. And the way you get to hell is through door 101. Here we have 101 Dalmatians. It is a 1961 American animated adventure comedy. 1961. 61 is 19 upside down. If you flip it around, it is 19. Here is the spell to bring you through the door 101, to make you into a Dalmatian. Okay? Why does door 101 make you into a Dalmatian? Because it is the door to the Antichrist. And Dalmatians have spots. 1 Peter 1:19 says, "But with the precious blood of Christ, as a lamb without blemish and without spot." Okay, the Father is looking for the perfect sacrifice. That means without spot. That is how we are supposed to get into heaven, to be washed by the blood of Christ, presented without spot. How much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God, so that we can also be received without spot. But if you take door 101 to the Antichrist, you will be a Dalmatian. You will be covered in spots. Who is taking you through door 101? Who is kidnapping you? Why, Cruella de Vil, of course. A woman whose hair is black and white, Freemasonic, and whose name, if you take this A and put it in the beginning, it says a cruel devil. A cruel devil. This is right in our face. There's no denying this. So I hope that you can see that 101 is the doorway to the Antichrist. So let me show you what the 0 or the O is inside the two pillars. This is called the circumpunct. According to Gnostics, it is the most primal aspect of God. To Greek philosophers and to Pythagoreans, the circumpunct represents God, or the monad, the point of the beginning of creation and eternity. It is the sun of astrologers and astronomers, the alchemical gold of the alchemist, and the keter of the Kabbalah. As you can see, the circumpunct is a symbol that can help evolve our souls to become truly illuminated, an enlightened soul who is I am. The modern man-made world is ruled by chaos, which confuses people and often leads their souls astray. manufactured chaos. This is why the motto of the 33rd degree of Freemasonry is Ordo ab Chao, a Latin term meaning order from chaos. So you can see that this represents God, the sun god, not the Father in heaven, but Apollo, Lucifer, okay, Ra. This represents the sun god. If we scroll up, we will get to the two Masonic pillars. Okay, these are very well known throughout the truth community, people spreading the word of God, and just people waking up. And you will see these pillars everywhere in Masonic buildings, in all the old world architecture, always with two pillars. These two pillars are constructed at the entrance of Masonic lodges. In the Bible, two pillars known as Boaz and Jachin stood at the porch of Solomon's temple. Boaz was the left-hand pillar, which meant in him is strength, and the right-hand pillar, Jachin, means he establishes. In Freemasonry, the two pillars symbolize opposite pairs: good and evil, light and darkness, active and passive, positive, negative, yes, no, outside, inside, man, woman. So these ones we're going to get back to later, man and woman. So I want you to think of the two towers as man and woman, because this is where we're going to be going, so that I can show you the relationship between these buildings, technology, which is spirituality, and humanity, because they're all on the same course and we're going to get to see them meshed together. So before I get into the towers, right, because these pillars represent the two towers, the twin towers. So what is the O? Well, I showed you that it is the sun god. The sun god breaks into 7 rays, okay, the 7 rays of Lucifer. Light going through a prism breaks up into 7 rays. These are the 7 rays of Lucifer, which we will cover later on. But I just wanted to give you an understanding that the circumpunct inside of the towers is represented by the number 7. This is important to understand. Now, let's have a look at how the towers, this symbol, and it being the doorway to the Antichrist, come into play with the towers. Part 2. The towers. So here you have the towers. Each one of these is represented by a 1. So this would be the 11. Okay? And 7 is the O, the sun. So on September 11th, the towers came down, and so did building 7. So you have 7 and 1 and 1. So this is your 101, your 711. Now, this gets really deep, so I hope you can follow along with me. I'll explain as best I can. If we look at numerical prefixes, we'll see that September means month 7, just like October means 8. Okay? Septa is 7. Septuagint, 70 to 79. Septa is 7. So that means that 9/11 is 7/11, as in building 7 and the 2 1s. 9/11 represents the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 11. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. So this is what 9/11 means. They're throwing up a flag that says our king is Apollo. Okay, this is important to understand, because the event that took place in 2001 was the beginning of the release of Apollo from the pit. So 101 represents the two towers and Building 7 coming down on September 11th, 7/11, or 9/11, Apollo their king. Okay? Because Building 7 and the two towers make 7/11. Now, on that day, a portal was opened to begin the rise of the Antichrist, the door 101, which was represented by the destruction on that fateful day. I have to be cautious how many times I say it. I don't want to get too much attention drawn here. Now, each tower has 8 sides. You can see here that the corners are not corners, but they are sides. So the two towers next to each other represent 88, which is space and time, which is where Satan's prison is. This is the cube inside of a cube, the tesseract. So let me show you why the cube inside of a cube represents Satan's prison, the 88. First, I will show you this. This is the 88, the analemma. Okay? If you take a picture of the sun and the moon in the same direction at the same time every day, they will form an 8 in the sky. The moon is the original timepiece, so this represents time, 8. The sun represents space, 8. Together they are 88, time and space. Now this is Satan's prison. It is represented by a cube, and I will get to that in a second. But at first I want to show you why it is a cube inside of a cube. When Jesus finished his work on the cross, he gained victory over Satan. This is where we read about in Revelation 20. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Okay, so Satan is bound for 1,000 years. So he's put into a box. Okay, he's put into a cube, a prison. And then they cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him. So here's the other cube. So he's trapped in time. They bound him for 1,000 years. He's trapped inside of time. Okay? And they trapped him inside of space, the bottomless pit, the abyss. So here's a little deeper understanding on why the cube is Satan's prison. So here we're on Wikipedia looking at cube. We're going to scroll down here. You're going to see a cross, but there's a nice little animation down here that shows you what's what. Now you know that Christ gained victory over Satan at the cross. Satan was bound and thrown into the pit. So there are 2 crosses. One cross bound Satan into a cube. And the cross also cast Satan into the abyss, the bottomless pit. Hence, he's inside of a cube within a cube. 66, 88, because there are 8 points on a cube. This is the tesseract, a 4-dimensional cube. Okay, this is Satan's prison. So this is a cross inside of a cross, a cube inside of a cube. This is where Satan's symbol, the double cross, comes from. Because it's a cube in a cube. If we want to know more about the abyss, we go to First Enoch, which is a biblical book. It used to be in the Bible and is still found in the Ethiopic Bible. Enoch says, "And I saw a deep abyss, with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure, alike towards the height and towards the depth. And beyond that abyss I saw a place which had no firmament of heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water upon it, no birds, but it was a waste and horrible place." Okay? No firmament of heaven above, no earth beneath, beyond the abyss. This is space, or what we would call space, outside of the heaven and the earth. This is the abyss, the bottomless pit. "And I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains." Okay, these are the 7 rays of Lucifer, the 7 Satans, the 7 planets, which are not planets, but are indeed the 7 Satans. "And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. He was wroth with them and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. And Uriel said to me, Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged, till they are made an end of. And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens. And I, Enoch, alone saw the vision, the end of all things. No man shall see as I have seen." So, that is the bottomless pit. So he is trapped inside of a cube, inside of a cube. This is the 88, the analema, the serpent eating its tail. This is why every 19 years it comes around again. This is why when the towers came down in 2001, 19 years later, on the Metonic cycle, Apollo began to ride. The first horseman rode. First, let me show you what a Metonic cycle is. This is a Metonic cycle. I told you that the moon is a timepiece. A Metonic cycle is a period of almost exactly 19 years, after which the lunar phases reoccur at the same time of year. So this means that 19 years ago, however the lunar phases were that year, they'll be this year. It's the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its tail, over and over and over again. This is the 8 of time. The reoccurrence is not perfect, and by precise observation, the Metonic cycle is defined as 235 synodic months. It is just 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 58 seconds longer than 19 tropical years. Well, if you add 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 5 is 11, plus 8 is 19. Okay, this is a spell. So here's your 19, and there's your 19. If you go down, it says a tropical year is longer than 12 lunar months and shorter than 13 of them. In a Metonic calendar, 7 months are added over a cycle of 19 years to make up the necessary 235. 19 times 12 plus 7 equals 235. 12 plus 7 is also 19. You see what's going on here? A 19-year cycle is used for the computation of the date of Easter each year. Okay, so they pick the date of Easter based on this 19-year cycle. And we know that Easter is a celebration of Tammuz and Nimrod, the Babylonians. They applied the 19-year cycle from the late 6th century BC. Diodorus Siculus reports that Apollo is said to have visited the Hyperboreans once every 19 years. So this is why I say that 19 years is a spell number. It's a metonic cycle, okay? This is when Apollo makes his rounds. Satan, every 19 years, the serpent eats its tail. And it comes around and around and around. This is why 19 years after the towers came down, the sickness came. This is a movie called The Dark Tower. This is about the one world trade. Watch the numbers he punches in to get to the world where the Dark Tower is.
Destination 19119 Midworld. Midworld. One-way destination.
1919. That is the metonic cycle, which brings you to the Dark Tower, the one world trade, opening a portal into this new world. Okay, Apollo is being freed. All right? The spirit is being freed from his prison. What does Revelation 6 tell us? Revelation 6. The first seal was opened 19 years after the towers came down. The Antichrist, the door to the Antichrist was opened. And 19 years later, the first seal was opened. Let me show you. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were a noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and him that sat on him had a bow. Okay? This white horse rider, this is Apollo, the Antichrist. Okay? Jesus is going to come back on a white horse. So Apollo is going to pose as Jesus on a white horse. And he had with him a bow. When we look up bow in Strong's, it is toxin. Okay? Toxin. A poison. So he had poison with him, and a crown was given unto him. So he had poison, and a crown was given to him. If we look up crown in the etymology, you will see that in Old English used corona. Okay? Crown is corona. If we read Revelation 6 again, and I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him, Apollo, had a bow, toxin, and a bow. When we look and read about Apollo, it says Apollo delivered people from epidemics, because he brings the sickness and the cure. Yet he's also a god who could bring ill health and deadly plague with his arrows. So he's bringing a bow, his toxic arrows, and a crown, corona, is given to him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. So tell me, did the earth become conquered by corona and the toxin and the medicine? Here's the sickness, here's the cure. He brings medicine and healing, and he also brings the sickness. So, 19 years after the towers came down and that ritual sacrifice was given, Apollo is out riding his horse, bringing corona and the cure. I hope you guys can see what I'm trying to show you, because it gets so much deeper. So that's that section of it. Now I'm going to show you another part of the towers. If we look at the towers, you will see that this is the facade of them, okay? The exterior frame. They have these forks, like these one beams going up into three. Now I have blown up a picture of this in Photoshop, and I'm going to put it on the screen now. Alright, here it is. So, you have these triune forks, which are the facade, the exterior of the Trade Center, the old towers. You will see I have them numbered. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 of them. Okay? 19. Now, they split into threes. If we take 19 and multiply it by 3, we get 57, also known as 5G, or 237, the cage of the beast. For those of you who are new, 237 represented by 2 floating ribs, 3 false ribs, 7 true ribs. That is the cage in which the beast is, the carnal beast. That is the cage. As you can see here, inside the cage of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This is where we are locked in with Satan until we are saved through Christ. But this is the cage of the Antichrist, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil inside the cage. So, now, if we go like this, we have obviously 5G and 237. Okay, the 19 turned into 237 or 5G. Now there are 4 sides that have these triune forks. Now we have 57, 5G, tech. Okay, they want to mix and mingle their seed with the seed of the woman. So in order to do that, they multiply this 57, 5G, times 4. 4 is IV, as in an injection. When you multiply the 5G times the injection, you get 22 and 8. As I showed you in the last video, the number 22 is called the Master Builder. Okay, this is Masonic stuff. The underlying occult scientific significance of the number 22 in the science would represent the bones of the skull, in which there are 22. 8 form the cranium or brain case, and 14 are associated with the face. So here you have your 22. Okay, 14 and 8. So this is 1 and 4 is 5, and 8, 58, the 5th head and the 8th head. This is the Antichrist, 22. So when you multiply 5G times IV, you get 228, a portal to the Antichrist. Okay, that's one building. Now, we're going to multiply that times 2, because there's 2 buildings. When you combine them both, you get 456. 6 and 4 is 10, plus 5 is 15. That's 5 plus 5 plus 5. 5, 5, 5. That's 6, 6, 6. In a few different ways. The number 5 in Roman numerals is V. V is the Hebrew letter Vav, which is the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So 555 is 666. In the Masonic world, 555 feet is 6,660 inches. 555 is 666. So you can see here, the math I've just shown you is a portal to bring 5G into humanity through the IV to release the Antichrist spirit and put people under control of Satan. There is no way these numbers are an accident. And remember, these buildings each have 8 sides. 88 times space. Man, woman. Okay? Now at the time of their completion, the North Tower was 1,368 feet. 8 and 6 is 14. Plus 3, 17. Plus 1 is 18. That's 6 plus 6 plus 6. The South Tower was 13,062 feet. 6 plus 2 is 8. Plus 3 is 11. Plus 1 is 12. That's 66. 6 and 6 is 12. Construction began on the towers in 1966. Okay, this is 666 this year it represents. Okay, because you take away the 1 because that was added to our timeline, and you're left with 966, which is 666. Now, I just showed you about the injection, okay, on the side of the building, the 4 sides, the IV with the 5G. Now, I want you to check out this logo they made. One World Trade Center. What does this look like inside of the O? Is that not a needle? Like a syringe needle. What happens if we take WTC in numerical value and add 1 to it? So W is 23 plus T is 20 plus C is 3 plus 1, 47. This number represents spiritual possession. Okay, this is your 46 chromosomes plus 1 possession. So the 2 8-sided buildings came down. Okay, the 88 came down. And then 1 8-sided building came up in its place. Okay, you can see that this is a 8 sides. This is an anti-prism. Okay, a prism breaks light into 7 rays. An anti-prism will take the light from 7 rays and bring it into 1. Okay, it's reversing everything. So it's bringing the 2 into 1. It was opened on November 3rd, 2014. November 3rd, that's 11 and 3. 3 times 11, 33. Okay? Opened in 2014. 14 plus 2 is 16. 88. 33. Now if we look at the height, it's 1776, which just happens to be America's birthday, right? At least that's what they want you to believe, but what it really is a spell. Let me show you. 1776 divided by 2 equals, would you look at that, 888. So we have 2 8-sided towers, time and space 88, brought down to form 1 tower, which has 2 888-foot towers in it. So the 2 became 1. Now when I start getting into the binary code and what happened to humanity, your heads are going to spin. But before we get there, let me show you all these. Let me show you the narrative of this spell, so you can see exactly how it works. At 8:46 a.m., so 6 plus 4 and 8, that's 18, that's 666. On September 11th, 2001, 5, we'll get back to this 5 in a minute, hijackers affiliated with Al-Qaeda Crash American Airlines Flight 101 or 11 into the northern facade of North Tower between the 93rd and the 99th floor. 93, that's 3 nines, which is 3 sixes, or you can do 3 times 9, which is 27, which is 72 backwards, which is 66 plus 6, and the 99th, which is 66. That's Apollo's number. It's also 9 times 11, 911. And if you look in between, there are 6 floors in between 93rd and 99. Now, 17, cue the Antichrist spirit minutes later at 9:03, 93. Here we go again. And the second group of 5, we'll get back to that in a second, crashed the hijacked United Airlines 175 into the south facade of the South Tower. 175, 58. You have a 5 and an 8. 7 and 1 is 8. 58. The 5th head, the 8th head. Striking the South Tower, striking between the 77th. Okay, that's 7 times 11. 711. I told you that septa is 7. 711, okay, that's building 7 in the 2 tall boys. And the 85th floor, okay, that is 58. And in between is the number 8. Between the 77th and 85th, there are 8 floors. I hope you guys are seeing this, because this is insane. By 9:59 a.m., 9 and 9 is 18, plus 5 is 23. Okay, that's another spiritual possession number. 23 and Me, the movie with Jim Carrey, the number 23. Okay, this is a split personality, okay? Half person, half demon. 23. Okay, 46 chromosomes. Half of that's 23. The South Tower collapsed after burning for approximately 56 minutes. 5 and 6 is 11. There's your 101. After burning for 102 minutes. That's 12. 66. 6 plus 6. The North Tower collapsed due to the structural failure at 10:28 a.m. 8 plus 2 plus 1 is 11. 101. When the North Tower collapsed, debris fell on the nearby 7 World Trade, damaging it, and the fires consumed it, and it collapsed at 5:21. 5 plus 2 plus 1, that's 8. Okay, there is no way this is a coincidence. I just wanted to show you guys who think that the numbers are not important, how important they are, and how much they use them. Every single number here I just told you about. Every number they used in this narrative, I just showed you. I didn't leave one number out. Oh, I said I'd get back to the 5s. So 5 here, 5 here. That is 5, which is VV, Vav, 66, Apollo. Let's look a little further. So out of all the people that died, there was 2,996 people, okay? There's your 666 and 2, which is 1 and 1, 11, 101. So here's your 1, here's your 11, your 101, and your 666. Out of those people, 2,507 were civilians. 7, 5, 12 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Okay, that's 77. That's 7, 11. 7 times 11. 343 of them were firefighters. 3 times 4 is 12, times 3 is 36. 3 sixes. Okay, remember 343, guilty spark, and this is what, in the Halo video, This is what Bungie was renamed to, 343 Industries. Okay, so I'm very familiar with this number. 72 law enforcement officers. Okay, that's 66 plus 6 is 72. 55 military. 55 VV 66. And the 19 Metonic Cycle hijackers. I hope that you're seeing what I'm trying to show you. So, what happened to people when the spell happened? Well, I'm going to show you exactly what happened. And to do it, I'm going to use technology. I'm going to show you computer programming. Part 3. Binary code. Binary code. Okay, so this is going to represent the two towers, because there are only two symbols used, and it's a 1 or a 0. A binary code represents text, computer processor instructions, or any other data using a two-symbol system. The two-symbol system used is often 0 and 1 from the binary number system. Now, I showed you on the Masonic pillars that the towers represent man and woman. Same for the binary code. Binary is also ones and zeros. 101. Okay? This all makes sense to you, I promise. The binary code assigns a pattern of binary digits, also known as bits, to each character, instruction, etc. For example, a binary string of 8 bits. Okay, here's your portal. Okay, this is technology we're talking about. This is how the matrix is built, by ones and zeros, which is also called a byte, like a snake bite, can represent any of 256 possible values, and can therefore represent a wide variety of different items. So, 2 plus 6 is 8. 58. Okay, your portal into the Antichrist by being bitten by the serpent. Okay, this is important because this concerns man and woman, 1 and 0. When the towers came down, the binary code came down. Man and woman came down, and they put up a new tower, a one world trade. So the two became one. So man and woman became one, non-binary. Now watch. Part 4. Quantum code. This is a qubit. Notice it has the word cube. I know it's spelled differently, but it has cube in it. The prison. Okay? In quantum computing, a qubit is the basic unit of quantum information, the quantum version of the classic binary bit, physically realized with a two-state device. Now, I've told you that the quantum realm is the spiritual realm, Satan's prison, okay? This is where Satan's locked up, in the abyss, the bottomless pit. Now it says, in a classical system, a bit would have to be one state or the other. Okay, so male or female. However, quantum mechanics allows the qubit to be in a coherent superposition of both states simultaneously. So a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man, or they can be both or neither, or a multitude of different things. Okay, see where I'm going here? Now, when I start showing you guys the dates of this stuff, it's going to get really crazy. Now, forget I'm talking about a quantum computer, and just think spiritually as I'm talking about men and women. In classical computer technologies, a process bit is implemented by one of two levels. of low DC voltage, and while switching from one of these two levels to the other, a so-called forbidden zone between the two logic levels must be passed as fast as possible, as electrical voltage cannot change from one level to another instantaneously. Okay, so the classical computer, the process bit is implemented by one of two levels, male or female. Now, if they want to switch from one of these two levels to the other, it's called the forbidden zone, and it's located between two logic levels. The forbidden zone between two logic levels must be passed as fast as possible. So you need to avoid logic to get through the forbidden zone as fast as possible to change into the other. There are two possible outcomes for the measurement of a qubit, usually taken to have the value 0 and 1 like a bit or binary digit. However, whereas the state of a bit can only be either 0 or 1, the general state of a qubit, according to quantum mechanics, can be a coherent superposition of both. Quantum superposition is a fundamental principle of quantum mechanics. In classical mechanics, things like position or momentum are always well defined. We may not know what they are at any given time, but that is an issue of our understanding and not the physical system. This sounds like me to like gender ideology. Okay, we might not know what they are, but they do, and it doesn't have anything to do with them, but it is an issue of our understanding and not their physical systems. In quantum mechanics, a particle can be in superposition of different states. However, a measurement always finds it in one state, but before and after the measurement, it interacts in ways that can only be explained by having superposition of different states. This is called gender fluidity. I hope you guys can see what I'm showing you, because I'm making the connection for you right now between the two binary buildings, the male and female, the two towers, the binary system, ones and zeros. Okay, remember 101 is binary code. It's also the door to the Antichrist. And when you go through that door, when the towers were taken down and that door was opened, a new tower came up, and the two became one. Now, the One World Trade opened November 3rd, 2014. This is 27 milestones in the history of quantum computing. Look at that. There's 27, 72 backwards. 66 plus 6. Anyways, I'm going to show you some years here. All right, so let's just go back to before the tower came down. So Nakamura of the University of Tokyo and Josh Shensai of Tokyo University of Science demonstrate that a superconducting circuit can be used as a qubit. Okay, so this is before quantum computers are even made. Okay, the first version of the quantum computation roadmap, a living document involving key quantum computing researchers, is published in 2002. So after the towers came down, a roadmap was created to quantum computing. In 2004, the first 5-photon entanglement demonstrated by Jean-Wei Pan's group, Pan, right, Satan, at the University of Science and Technology in China. Okay, so still, no computers. In 2011, the first commercially available quantum computer is offered by D-Wave Systems. Now, I did a video called What is the Matrix? and I spoke all about D-Wave computers, okay? The first available quantum computer in 2011. 2012, IQB Information Technologies 1 qubit, the first dedicated quantum computing software company, is founded. Now here is the key. 2014, the same year the One World Trade opened. Physicists at the Kavli Institute of Nanoscience at the Delft University of Technology, the Netherlands, teleport information between two quantum bits separated by about 10 feet with 0% error rate. Now what this means is these two quantum bits, these are entangled. This is sending information through the spiritual realm, through the quantum realm, through Satan's prison. Okay, because this is where they're entangled. One particle is entangled here with the other one being there. Okay, so these two quantum bits sent information through the quantum realm, Satan's prison. So now Satan is sending information through the quantum realm, through teleportation, mind control. In 2014, the same year that the towers opened. Part 5. CERN's breakthrough. Now, if we come to CERN's website, because CERN created the internet, this is where the dark matter comes from, the dust, okay, the forbidden fruit. CERN comprises of 23 member states. 23. Possession. Israel was admitted in 2013. Okay? 2013. That is 5 and 8. 58. So now that Israel's admitted, okay, the year before the tower opened, I'm just trying to show you these things all come into play, especially with what's going on right now. Now, if we scroll down, you will see that on March 30th, 2010, the LHC successfully collided two proton beams with 3.5 TeV of energy per proton, resulting in a 7 TeV collision energy. However, this was just the start of what was needed for the expected discovery of the Higgs boson. When the 7 TeV experimental period ended, the LHC revved to 8 TeV, 4 TeV per proton, starting March 2012, and soon began particle collisions at that energy. In July 2012, CERN scientists announced the discovery of a new subatomic particle that was later confirmed to be the Higgs boson. In March 2013, CERN announced that the measurement performed on newly found particles allowed it to conclude that it was the Higgs boson. So, right as this tower's beginning to open up, all right, they discovered the Higgs boson, which is what they call the God particle, which is their God, Satan. Okay, so this is part of the key to unlocking Satan, as CERN is going to open the pit, okay? But this is part of the key. They're being led somewhere. Here we have the Tesseract. This is from the Avengers.
The Tesseract has awakened. It is on a little world, a human world. They would wield its power, but our ally knows it's working,
So, the Tesseract is on a human world. The humans wield its power. Okay, this is talking about CERN trying to open up the cube, Satan's prison, the pit, and then they say that their ally knows its workings. So this is the whispering voice that comes over from the other side to the people who are letting this dark matter, this forbidden knowledge, come through.
King knows it's working, as they never will, as they never will. He is ready to
So they're saying that the humans will never know its workings. So they're all blinded by deception, blinded by the desire for forbidden knowledge.
He is ready to lead, and our force, our Chitauri will follow,
So Loki is ready to lead. Loki is the trickster god. He fools you, okay? Promises you one thing and gives you another after you do his bidding. As you're going to see, they're going to open the portal to the pit. And this is the army of locusts that are going to come out of the pit. That's who this army here represents. They're saying that Loki is ready to lead this army.
The world will be his, and the humans. What can they do? What can they do? But burn.
The world will be his, Apollos, the Antichrists. And what can the humans do but burn? I hope you're seeing the truth that is laid out for you in this fictional so-called movie. Now, what you're going to see is Samuel Jackson's helicopter flying over this place and a sign. So notice that it is a curved facility, okay? This is insinuating that it's CERN. And so does the sign on the building, which I will stop when we get to that point. I've cut the sound off just because it was unnecessary. Okay, it's called the Joint Dark Energy Mission. Dark energy. This is what CERN does. This is dark matter, dark energy. This is how they power CERN. Okay, it has nothing to do with electricity. It all has to do with this dark energy. They don't know where it comes from. They just are able to harness it because this is what the spirits have shown them. Okay? NASA is involved with this. And look, Shield's accelerator testing. Particle accelerator. Dark energy. Okay? This is CERN. Make no mistake.
Until such times, we will act as though it intends to spin on.
Until such time that the world ends, we shall act as though it intends to spin on. Sorry for the missing sound. Sometimes I lose audio when talking over or restarting the audio clips in my editor. So they know they're tampering with world-ending technology, yet they continue to tamper with it.
Tesseract is misbehaving. She's an energy source. We turn off the power, she turns it back on.
We prepared for this, Doctor.
This is why Satan is referred to in the Bible as the prince of the power of the air. They talk about harnessing the ether. Okay, this is the power that Satan is putting off. This is the dark energy so that CERN can run itself and that their influences can slip through so that they can further influence them to further power, to bring them further along in technology until ultimately they unlock the portal and Apollo is freed, as in Revelation 9.
She's an energy source. We turn off the power, she turns it back on.
We prepared for this, Doctor. Harnessing energy from space.
We don't have the harness.
We turn off the power, the Tesseract turns it back on. This is the antimatter, the energy. They want to harness the energy from space. But as you just clearly heard, they don't have the harness. This is why CERN isn't going to be able to stop what's coming. Even if they all realize what they were doing right now and try to put an end to it, it's too late. The prophetic word of God will come to pass.
Have you seen anything that might set this thing off?
No one's come or gone. No contacts, no IM.
No one's come or gone to set this thing off. He says, no, I am. No, I am. Okay, that's no God. I'm going to play that again. But first, take a look at this thing. Tell me that's not CERN right there. Tell me that's not a particle collider, right? Being powered by the cube.
Have you seen anything that might set this thing off?
No one's come or gone. No contacts, no IM. If there's any tampering, sir.
No contacts, no IM. So no God, no Father. This is the Antichrist.
No IM. If there's any tampering, sir, it wasn't at this end.
At this end.
Yeah, the cube is a doorway to the other end of space, right? Doors open from both sides.
So, the cube is a doorway. Doors open from both sides. So CERN is going to build the door to the portal. And then Satan can open it. I hope you guys can see what I'm showing you. Alright, I just made it quiet to deal with copyright issues. So, what's happening here? That CERN-looking particle collider, powered by the cube, is shooting out light. A beam of light. This is exactly what CERN does. And look what's happening. They're opening a portal. To the abyss. And out of it comes a flaming Antichrist. Watch the spear. Okay, because it harnesses the power of the Tesseract. And when he places the Tesseract onto someone's chest, the heart, they become possessed. This is exactly what's happening. Black eyes, possessed. Black eyes, possessed.
You say peace. I kind of think you mean the other.
So when you see him do the next guy, which I spoke over, he says, you will know peace. And Samuel L. Jackson says, you say peace, but I kind of feel like you mean the other thing. Now the scriptures tell us they will say peace, peace when there is no peace. The false prophets, the false Christ, the Antichrist. That is exactly what you're witnessing right here.
You will know peace.
You say peace. I kind of think you mean the other thing.
He means to bury us.
Like the pharaohs of old.
He means to bury us. Like the pharaohs of old. Okay? Understand what's happening here. They are giving away the goods in this movie. You just need to be able to see through the veil to understand the spiritual implications of what's being said. Notice the helicopter, which is taking them above this destruction which is about to take place. 33. Now, that portal they made is about to have some unintended consequences, which is exactly what will happen at CERN. It is about to open the pit. This is going to be the unintended consequence, or maybe it's intended. But the pit is going to open up and swallow up everything within that 17-mile circle, which is shaped like a Q. Make no mistake, they're telling us what's going to happen. This is the opening of the pit. Loki came out, and now he's going to use the Tesseract to open a portal, and the armies of locusts will come through. Part 6. Two become one. Now, if we go into the timeline of transgender history, you can see they make up a lot of stuff that they have no idea about. It's all just his story, right? History. Yeah, right? And there's not much going on in any of these years till we start getting up in here. Still not a lot going on. Still not a lot. Still not a lot. Still not a lot. Okay, a little bit in 2013. Okay, this is when the Higgs boson was discovered. But now, when you get to 2014, there is an explosion of trans stuff. Okay, the anti-discrimination law for gender identity passed Canada's province in Saskatchewan. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission filed the first Title VII action taken by the government on behalf of transgender workers. The lawsuits were filed by Amy Stevens and Brandy Branson, both transgender women. Megan Stabler became the first openly transgender woman to be named Working Mothers Magazine's Working Mother of the Year. Laverne Cox was on the cover of 9th June 2014 issue of Time and was interviewed for the article The Transgender Tipping Point in 2014. Okay? The same year that the One World Trade, the two becoming one, opened up. She also became the first openly transgender person to be nominated for a non-Emmy in an acting category. Transgender Studies Quarterly, the first non-medical academic journal devoted to transgender issues, began publication. Mills College became the first single-sex college in the U.S. to adopt a policy explicitly welcoming transgender students. Mount Holyoke became the first Seven Sisters College to accept transgender students. Seven Sisters. This is the Pleiades. Blake Brockenham became the first openly transgender high school homecoming king. Nina Chabal and Greta Gustava Matella co-founded TransLife, the first U.S. suicide hotline dedicated to transgender people. Tona Brown became the first African-American openly transgender woman to perform at Carnegie Hall. The Transgender Trends panel was the first panel on the subject ever held in the San Diego Comic-Con. The San Francisco Police Academy graduated its first openly transgender police officer. The 100 block of Turk Street in San Francisco was renamed Vicky Marlene after the trans activist Vicky Marlene. Leah T became the face of American hair care brand Redken, thus making her the first openly transgender model to front a global cosmetics brand. A National Centers for Disease Control and Prevention campaign featured an openly transgender person. For the first time, Chris Mosier became the first openly transgender man inducted into the National Gay and Lesbian Sports Hall of Fame. I didn't even know that existed. Kenan McKinnon became the first openly transgender man to earn a gold in powerlifting at the Gay Games in 2014. BBC commissioned Britain's first transgender sitcom called Boy Meets Girl, which follows the developing relationship between Leo, a 26-year-old man, and Judy, a 40-year-old transgender woman. Isis Rain became the first openly two-spirit person to perform at the Aboriginal People's Choice Awards. The first openly two-spirit. See what they're saying? Okay, this is transgender, two spirits. The two became one. The two towers became one tower. Look at all these firsts that are happening the same year the One World Trade opened up. Okay? The same year that quantum computing came from binary computing. Okay? The same year that CERN, right after CERN, discovered the so-called God particle. Okay, that means that they were able to now bring more dark matter over from the forbidden realm. Okay, the bottomless pit, Apollos. I hope you guys can see what I'm showing you, because this stuff is mind-blowing. Padmini Prakash became India's first openly transgender television news anchor. Denmark became the first European country to remove gender identity disorder diagnosis as a necessary requirement for the gender recognition process. Malta became the first European state to add recognition of gender identity to its constitution as a protected category. The first openly transgender woman got married in Malta. At least 1,000 openly transgender Bangladeshis held Bangladesh's first Pride March to mark 1 year since the government recognized them as a third gender. The Arizona Interscholastic Association Executive Board approved the first transgender student athlete to play in the winter sports in Arizona. The FTM Fitness Conference hosted the first bodybuilding competition for transgender men. The UN Human Rights Council adopted the second resolution related to sexual orientation and gender identity on 26 September 2014. It passed by a vote of 25 to 14 and is the first time in the Council's history that it adopted a resolution on LGBT rights with the majority of its members. Petra de Sutter became the first openly transgender person to serve in Belgium's parliament. Luisa Ravella Urcia became the first openly transgender person elected to public office in Peru. The Labour government in Victoria, Australia appointed Martin Foley as Minister of Equality, marking the first time Australian government has ever dedicated minister overseeing gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and intersex issues. Verd Meltzer was elected to the City Council in Appleton. As such, he became the first openly transgender elected official in Wisconsin. Butterfly Music Transgender Chorus, the U.S. second known transgender chorus, was founded, inspiring others to found similar groups across the country. So look at all the firsts, okay, that happened. Look at all the firsts. Now, I am not judging people, okay? As a matter of fact, quite the opposite. People who are under this belief system need prayer, and they need Jesus, okay? I'm not judging them. What I'm doing is showing you what happened, okay? I'm showing you the spell that's taking place. I'm showing you what the towers represented and how the doorway to the Antichrist was opened and what happened when it was opened. If you haven't watched my video called Made in the Image of the Beast, it's all about how Satan is making people in his image, the Baphomet, okay? Two sexes in one. All these things coincided in 2014. 14 and 2 is 16. That's 88. And if you'd want to drop the 2, that's fine. You still have 14, which is 77, which is 7 times 11. And if you want to keep the 1 on there, you have 11, 4, which is 44. That was Obama's presidency number. No matter how you do this, the numbers all come out pointing at the Antichrist, no matter how you do it. So I said I was going to get to the 7 rays of part 7. The 7 rays of the sun. So let's do that right now because you guys should see this stuff. Alright, this is from the Lucius Trust page. Okay, this used to be known as Lucifer Publishing, but now it's Lucius. You know, like Batman is Trump, and Lucius, his right-hand man, is Lucifer. Apollo. So, when the light comes, the light of Lucifer, the 7 Satans who form Lucifer, it's broken up into 7 rays. The first ray is the energy of will, purpose, or power, which is essentially the will of the deity. This ray is of such dynamic intensity that it's called the ray of the destroyer. That's Shiva. Apollo. Okay, higher expression, the science of statesmanship and of government. So statesmanship and government, the science of ruling over people, making them bend to your will, the purpose or power, the energy of will. Apollo, okay? The second ray, I'm not reading all of this, but, it's demonic. So I just want to read you a little bit so you get an idea. The second ray, the energy of love wisdom, the desire or love of deity. Love. Love is love. God is love. Reckless love. That's love. And love wisdom. So this is the pursuit of the forbidden fruit. The process of initiation is taught by hierarchy of adepts. Religion. Now, when you are in this religion, this Luciferian religion, okay, that the second ray is encapsulated in some words of Krishna, whatever path men travel is my path. No matter where they walk, it leads to me. The way is broad that leads to destruction. The third ray, the energy of active intelligence, or to reverse it, intelligent activity, the intelligent use of form building, of all creative effort to reveal divine purpose, means of communication or interaction. Okay, this is the third ray. Now pay attention. The radio, the telephone, the telegraph, and the power to travel is the third ray of light. This is one of the Satans. Okay, their higher expressions is the mean of communication and interaction through radio, telephone, telegraph, and the power to travel. I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. Fourth ray, the energy of harmony through conflict. Masonry based on information of hierarchy and rules for admittance. Okay, out of destruction. All right, order out of chaos. The fifth ray, the energy of concrete knowledge or science. Higher expression, the science of the soul, esoteric psychology. All right, so this is the path of enlightenment through the sciences. Sixth ray, the energy of devotion or idealism. This ray endows man with the capacity to see the ideal, the reality behind the form. It endows man with the urge to penetrate behind the veiled and hidden realms. So it makes you want to seek the hidden knowledge, right? The secret societies and their hidden knowledge, magical realms, okay? And look at what they say here, higher expression, Christianity and diversified religions. Some Christians will read this and be like, oh, this is what I should be studying, because it says Christianity. Let me tell you right now, this is a false Christ. This is not Christianity like you and I. Listen to this. The devotion of the sixth ray is perhaps best expressed by Jesus, the sixth ray master. Now, this is the Antichrist. Okay? The 6th ray master. Antichrist. This is a false Jesus. The 7th ray, the energy of ceremonial order. All forms of white magic. Okay? White magic. White light breaks up into 7 rays, which we just read. These are the 7 rays of Lucifer, the sun god, represented here in this 101 from John 10:1, the doorway to the false Christ, the Antichrist, Apollo, to open the door to the pit. Well, I hoped I was able to put everything in such a way that it was comprehensible and made sense. Sometimes these videos are tricky to put together. They take a lot of research, and sometimes they involve so many things, I don't know how to piece them together and stitch them in a way that will make sense to the hearer and viewer, even though it makes sense in my mind. So I pray you are able to gain the understanding from this video and can now see deeper into the realm in which we live, because I know, at least for myself, the more I learn about this reality, the less real it feels. The only reality for us who pursue the Lord is the Word of God, because this world is Satan's world, and everything we know is his story, and it has all been designed to lead us astray and take us further and further away from the Lord. That's why these truths are so hard, because we've been brought up and conditioned to believe these lies, which have been inherited and handed down from generation to generation. And with the emergence of AI, it's going to get even worse. But we walk in the truth, and the Lord will always give us the truth, and we can trust in that. And that brings me comfort in a world of confusion. And I pray it does the same for you. So until next time, you guys, take care.